Mark Bergin on behalf of the Arthur Moats Experience, bringing you today the top receivers in the AFC North Division as we get closer and closer to training camp. So let's get started right away. And to no surprise, the number one receiver in the AFC North Division, Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati Bengals. I think he's the best receiver in the NFL, maybe other than Justin Jefferson. And the Bengals paid Chase with a huge contract extension this offseason. 4 years, $161 million. It includes $112 million guaranteed, and it keeps Chase under contract through the 2029 season, meaning he won't become an unrestricted free agent until 2030. Chase is coming off a season where he had more than 1,700 yards. He had 17 receiving touchdowns. Both of those totals led the NFL. The Bengals have a prolific passing attack, and it's led by Jamar Chase at the receiver position. The only knock I have on Chase, tied for third in the NFL with drops. He had 9 drops this past season, but when the Bengals throw it as much as they do to him, you're going to have some drops here and there. He is my number one receiver in the division. At number 2 goes to T. Higgins, his Bengals teammate. Signed a 4-year contract extension worth $115 million. That's $30 million at signing, 40.9 guaranteed. Injuries limited Higgins to 12 games in the 2024 season. He still had 911 yards and got into the end zone 10 times. This duo, Chase and Higgins, is as good a receiving duo as there is in the NFL. And there were a lot of teams lining up. I think of teams like the New England Patriots that wanted T. Higgins this offseason to be their number one receiver. What these two receivers can do with Cincinnati is going to be prolific to watch with Joe Burrow and company, but the teams are paying both of those players now. So Higgins will make $28.75 million per year with that contract extension. And so they're paying handsomely to both of those players and Joe Burrow. The big question with Cincinnati at this standpoint is what happens to edge rusher Trey Hendrickson coming off the season where he led the NFL on sacks. But I've said this before, and I would say this again. The way that the Bengals are set up financially and how they allocate their money towards the offensive side of the football is like the exact opposite of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who allocate most of their salary cap on the defensive side of the ball. And speaking of the Steelers, I've got DK Metcalf at my third best receiver in the AFC North Division. He's 27 years old, was an all-pro second team in 2020, a two-time Pro Bowler in 2020 and 2023. Had a few injuries. He had played in 15 games a season ago, just shy of 1,000 yards. But if DK is healthy, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a 1,000-yard season from him. Now, I will say this too. I think that DK's stats are a little bit down compared to what they would be because he's obviously going to be Pittsburgh's number one receiver. But remember, the past several years in Seattle, he's playing with Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's a good young receiver in his own right, and then Tyler Lockett. So there weren't as many balls to go around, to where I think DK's stats are going to be even better in Pittsburgh because he's going to be the primary target for Aaron Rodgers this coming season. 4-year contract extension with Pittsburgh, $132 million, an average annual salary of $33 million, $60 million guaranteed. DK Metcalf is my third best receiver in the AFC North Division. At number 4, I go to Baltimore's Zay Flowers. Year 3, I'm expecting big things. By and large, Zay Flowers has stayed healthy, played in all 17 games a year ago, had just more than 1,000 yards through the air, 74 receptions, 116 targets, 4 touchdowns. Played in 16 games in the 2023 season. I expect big things from Zay Flowers. Lamar Jackson puts up those video game-like numbers. A lot of that is the tight ends with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, but Zay Flowers just seems to be getting better and better. In year 3, remember, he was a first-round pick, so the Ravens are going to have a decision to make a year from now of, do they want to pick up that 5th-year option now that Zay Flowers is in year 3 of his rookie deal? I think he's really, really talented player for Baltimore, and the beneficiary of a really strong running game and then a nice passing attack with the two tight ends that you have in Baltimore. And then I go to Jerry Jeudy of the Cleveland Browns, who's coming off his best season in the NFL. 90 receptions on 145 targets. He had more than 1,200 yards through the air. Only 4 touchdowns. He also stays healthy, played in 17 games a year ago. However, Jerry Jeudy led the NFL in drops a year ago with 13 drops. I think that might be a byproduct of not having quarterback continuity in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson, who played a year ago, Jameis Winston. We'll see what the Browns do this coming season with all the quarterbacks on their roster. Is it Joe Flacco? Is it Kenny Pickett? One of the 2 rookies in Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel? And remember, you've got Deshaun Watson working his way back from injury as well, so he'll at least missed a chunk of the season. So if you can get that continuity, perhaps Jeudy, the Alabama product, can continue to progress as a receiver. And again, he's coming off his best year in Cleveland. So to recap, again, I've got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Zay Flowers, and Jerry Jeudy as my top wide receivers in the AFC North. Let me know what you think in the insert chat. Do I have these rankings right? Do I have them in the right order? I think Chase is obviously the number 1, but should there be someone else in the number 2 slot? How do you rank the receivers? Let us know in the comments. And I'll go ahead and sign off here. Hope all of you have terrific weeks. My name is Mark Bergin, signing off on behalf of the Arthur Moats Experience.